guys, how are you doing? We're just wrapping up our service here. We've wrapped up the service, and then we went to go hang out outside of the old chainsaw and redeem that space a little bit from what it has been used for in the past, and had our kind of like community time out there. We had a really nice service, trying to keep the focus on God off the start. Personal issues and things definitely have their place, but in just raising our perspective to God helps put those other things in their proper place. And so that's what we did. And then just in praying for each other, praying for revelation and so on, had a really kind of like reverential time, I would say, where I felt like we were connecting with God. And then we talked more about being a disciple, what that means, and talked through the parable of the sower. So parable of the sower, really well known. You want the seeds that God is spreading to fall on the good soil, not on the rocky soil or the path where it's going to be stolen by birds, or on the, what's the other one? On the soil where like it's going to be choked out by the cares of the world, by the deceitfulness of riches. One of the interesting things in that parable is that Jesus actually quotes Isaiah 6 when his disciples ask him, "Why do you teach in parables?" And he essentially says, "I teach in parables so that people won't understand me." And so we talked about the seasons that we have in God, that we can have seasons of understanding and seasons of not understanding, seasons where things don't seem to make sense anymore. But it's hopefully through those seasons that God can like create something new and help cultivate the soil that is our hearts, so that what he wants to deposit can be fruitful. So we talked about some habits, things that we can do throughout the week to really have good soil, to receive the thing that God wants to do, and allow it to go deep so that it can bear fruit that's 160, 30-fold. And so some things that we talked about, just the power that we have in connecting with others and being able to get perspective, be encouraged, offer encouragement. And this is kind of almost redundant to say this, but in this time, obviously connecting with others is more challenging than it has been at other times in history. And yet it's a key way that I think God can kind of prepare us and cultivate us and do the things that he wants to do. We talked about using technology to create space in our lives, or to pause for moments with God, and to kind of reorient ourselves occasionally. And so I'll mention again the 1 Minute app by John Eldredge, which will send you a little like pop-up on your phone throughout the day, and just orient you to refocus on God in those times. And then we talked about things like, there are seasons where maybe we want to guard our time, guard our space. And there are seasons when maybe we don't need to guard our time, guard our space as much. And part of what we want to do as disciples, as followers of Jesus, is kind of discern the season that God has us in. What's God calling us to do in this moment? Recognizing that what we're called to in this moment may not be the thing that we're called to in the next season. So I think that's in part where community can be helpful, where we're sharing our lives with one another, we can speak into one another's lives, and so on. But all in all, a pretty fruitful service. We're continuing to try to like develop habits in our lives that really form us into better followers of Jesus. So habits that help us to pursue God, develop and deepen trust and intimacy with God, get over the hindrances and roadblocks that keep us from fully committing to God, and so on. So if you have habits or suggestions, feel free to put them in the comments or talk about them. Other than that, we're going to continue this little journey next Sunday. The registration is open now, and I think that's it. Bless you guys. Bye-bye.